Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, hi, my name is Angelfish, pronouns they, them. I almost fumbled that intro so badly, but we're just gonna leave it in. Anyway, if you are new to my channel, and this is your first video watching, hi! This is a series that I mean, you don't have to go back and watch the previous parts too if you don't want to, but this is a series I like to call Checking In with Monster High, where periodically throughout the year I've been making a video where I catch myself up to speed with Monster High, where they are at, media-wise, doll release-wise. This video, I gotta talk about apparel for a little bit, too. But, you know, general, like a catch-up since the last time I made one of these videos. I will make this disclaimer. The live-action media for Monster High, it's not going to have as big of a section as I thought because the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike has come into existence since the last time this video had this series had an entry in the series. And so we will not be covering the live-action movie or any of its associated material. That being said, this channel is intended for adult collectors, and that's my only other disclaimer. Let's get into it. I feel like it's tradition with this video series to start with G1 and the Alumni Collection. Camera, can you focus on Frankie, please, while I talk? But there's a lot that's been going on with the Alumni, and yet at the same time, it feels like it hasn't, because I haven't been buying a lot of the Alumni stuff, because the prices for the Alumni Collection have just been going up and up and up and up. Meanwhile, my enthusiasm towards them has just been going down. Like, I feel kind of content with the dolls that I've gotten from them. Claudine from the Holiday line is the only other Alumni doll that I've bought basically since Frankie. Technically since Gulia, because she released before Frankie, but or Frankie released before her. But yeah, just the Alumni Collection has been a little bit eclectic, to say. Especially because there's a lot of apparel that has come out for it. The Hot Topic collaborations have still been going on. I'm sure many people have seen here in the US the myriad of purses, mini backpacks, shirts, sweatpants, pajama sets, even Spirit Halloween having some more casual Monster High merchandise this year, like a denim jacket, and the return of the Diary crossbody bag. There's just a lot in the Monster High apparel collection, and we can even count the Halloween costumes this year too, because Laguna got added to the Alumni costume roster. I said that really weirdly, but, like, I haven't seen her in stores. She seems to be out of stock at this point in time, but Laguna is part of the Spirit Halloween lineup this year. You can dress up as her G3 version or her G1 version, which is very, you know, yay for Laguna fans, because I will let you in on a little secret. Most people who are hardcore Laguna Blue fans that are like ride or die for Laguna, most of us are, holy shit, two cakes kind of people. The people that bitch and moan about one or the other are people who never really paid attention to her beforehand, and like, yeah, sure, they like her, but they don't understand the obsession as those of us who are the holy shit, two cakes kind of people. Yeah. Was that a little gatekeepy? I don't know. I don't care. Don't try to argue with me in the comments about it, because I will just ignore you. Anyway, with the Alumni doll releases, slightly different story. Midnight Runway is still going. Spectra leaked by accident. It wasn't really... Well, I mean, it was and it wasn't. I mean, okay, so Spectra showed up in an eBay listing because that person ordered a Hot Wheels car from Mattel Creations, and they got sent her instead, but we have no idea when Spectra is coming out. We just know that she exists, and she was at least produced, which is very interesting. She beat the canceled allegations, because a lot of people were worried that Spectra was never going to come out, because we'd heard next to nothing about her, but, you know, she exists. She's there. I don't know when she's coming out. Midnight Runway Cleo has come and gone. I did not get her. She's still available, though, so if I wanted to, could I go out and get her? Yes, I could. Well, go out metaphorically, but you get the point. As far as Collector releases have gone, Annabelle released. I don't really have anything to say about her because I'm not a fan of the Annabelle franchise. It's not one of my favorite horror movies. I don't like to dwell on it. It just exists to me. If you like her, you like her. If you don't, you don't. I fall into the very meh neutral category. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of having a Monster High doll of a doll that is supposed to be possessed in the movie. Like, that just weirds me out a little bit. Maybe I'm a bit superstitious. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? I just didn't get her. She wasn't for me, and that's fine. We've also gotten Vampire Heart Draculaura, circling back to higher budget Collector stuff. She's an Amazon exclusive. She's currently sold out. I didn't get her because she's expensive, even though I wanted her. And a lot of people are calling her ugly because of the price. And like, no, she's objectively pretty. It's just she's expensive. And those are, you know, kind of mutually exclusive things. Price point does not inherently make something ugly. It just makes something undesirable. And sure, it's semantics, but also it's not, because it's okay to think a doll is pretty and still be mad that they're out of budget. I mean, I feel that half the time with a lot of stuff. I mean, I have been eyeing Integrity Toys dolls since I started collecting again, and they are out of the question for me. But, you know, it's just one of those weird, like, doll community-isms that I feel like nobody really talks about. Is like, people, once they find out the price tag is more than they can afford on a doll, they start calling them ugly when they were previously like, oh, this is the prettiest doll in the world, I love them so much. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting response there. I'm guilty of this myself, I will admit. Nobody's perfect. But it is an interesting doll community-ism. Did I talk about Holiday Claudine? I feel like I did, but I pre-ordered her. I'm excited for her to arrive. She ships sometime in October, just in time for the holiday season, which I'm looking forward to. A lot of people were kind of iffy on her price point, but she's the exact same price that Draculaura was last year. And arguably, she's better than Draculaura. I can say that because I have Holiday Draculaura, and personally, I do kind of like Claudine a little bit more. Maybe it's because she doesn't have tinsel in her hair from the stock pictures anyways. Or maybe it's just because I like the color purple. Who knows? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's neither. Maybe it's all of the above. I look forward to reviewing her when she gets here, though. Especially because Claudine has just been kind of sidelined from a lot of the alumni stuff, and I feel like not many people talk about that, but that's a discussion for another day. I feel like that was a very lightning round summary of where G1 is at right now with the alumni stuff. They don't have any associated media to go with them anymore. I don't even think they've been doing too many TikToks. The last ones that they were doing were all for the Valentine's Day Cleo and Deuce 2-pack restock, which, yes, those did restock last month. For some reason, I guess people just really didn't want the Valentine's Day Cleo and Deuce 2-pack, which, I mean, same. I don't have them for a reason, because I think design-wise, they're probably one of the few fumbles that the Alumni Collection has had. Excluding Rochelle. Rochelle is controversial. Sometimes I love her, sometimes I hate her. I flip-flop back and forth because, yes, I voted for Rochelle, but also she didn't end up looking the way that I liked or wanted, so I'm a little disappointed in that regard. And that's all I'll say on that, because it's time to move on to G3. Where we last left off with Generation 3 of Monster High, I had gotten Claude and I think Monster Ball Claudine, and maybe Spa Day Laguna, I want to say, or she might have been after that video was made. But Abby was one that I really wanted to talk about, but she was just nowhere in sight. Like, Abby was hard to get a hold of, and go figure, she still kind of is, but for good reason. Not because of distribution issues, although maybe partially because of that, but because she's just really that freaking popular. Which is honestly great. Like, Abby just is killing it in the sales department from what I hear. Abby is selling very well. She was the number one best-selling G3 doll on Amazon for several weeks. She kept selling out. I think she still sells out on Amazon a lot, like, pretty frequently, I think. Just, it's nice to see a character like Abby with her build and her overall, like, design philosophy succeed. Because she is one of the hardest hitting G3 designs from the signature lineup. And I love that for her. I love that she's doing well. I love that I get to have her. I love that I get to see her. I love that people get to enjoy her again, because she was a character that was sorely missed for G3 for the longest time. Like, she was highly anticipated. So it's great to see her back. In relation to seeing her on store shelves with Claude, it's very nice. I don't know how Claude is doing in sales. I hope he's doing well. I need to pick up a couple of him again for a couple doll custom projects. But, if anything, I hope that he does better than he did in G1, because the boys in Generation 1 of Monster High just did not sell very well at all. There's a reason there weren't too many G2 boy dolls. I think there were only 3 total releases of boys in the second generation of Monster High. 1 Gil doll, 1 Deuce, 1 Claude. And that's kind of unfortunate, not counting the Dracula from the Monster Family series. But I hope he's doing well. He deserves to do well. He's great, especially because of his hair and the diversity that it shows, and I want him to succeed. I really want him to succeed, and so help me God, if I could, I would single-handedly drive up the number of units sold. I try to, when I can, mostly because I use a lot of G3 dolls for customs right now, but it's just kind of like, I hope he's having a really good impact. I hear that he's a little bit more liked in the community than Deuce is, which is great. Nothing against G3 Deuce. We love Deuce. We miss him. I'm sad that he hasn't had any releases this year. But, again, it's just, I really hope he does so well in sales. He deserves the world. He's so cute. We need more of him in different lines. The Bite in the Park Draculaura doll should have been a 2-pack with him, let's be honest. Anyway, those are the 2 signature dolls I wanted to talk about, and we're moving them out of the way real quickly because I want them to share a segment with her. Spa Day Laguna. She was released around the same time frame, and yet, unlike Abby and Claude, she has not seen a very wide distribution radius. She seems to only be available online via Amazon or Entertainment Earth, which I think is very weird considering the fact that we were told she was going to be in stores. She used to scan at Target. It's just bizarre what's going on with her distribution. Like, did Target just not want to carry her anymore? Or something? Like, did a retailer just give up and be like, I don't want to devote shelf space to this one right now, and just pass her on? It's so bizarre. She is one of the most underrated G3 releases, in my opinion, because she has premium hair for Monster High. Like, all of it is Saran. She has a really cute face screening. And sure, her outfit may be up to interpretation, subject to liking, but for what you pay for, she's a really good doll. And it just hurts me to see that she is not easily available here in the US. I know international doll fans are kind of like sticks and stones. G3 as a whole is hard to get over here, and yeah, I feel for you guys. Again, I can only offer my perspective as someone who lives in the US. If I were to talk about how sad it makes me personally that some of my international doll collector friends can't get certain releases, we would be here for hours. That's an entire video on its own, because G3's distribution when it comes to, international is honestly a headache, and honestly, it makes me so upset that some of my friends that I care deeply about, who live in places like France or the UK or like the Netherlands, they're not going to be able to get certain characters. I have a friend who's really looking forward to Welcome Committee Frankie, and it upsets me the international import fees that they are going to have to pay to get that doll, because that doll's a Target exclusive here in the US when they release next year. I'm getting into territory that is subject to, and should be subject to its own discussion video, but you get the point. Her distribution, at least here in the US, is very weird, and I wonder if it's like that overseas. I can't help but wonder just what is Mattel thinking with distribution this year. And she's not the only G3 doll that's having weird distribution so far. We'll talk about Amped Up Frankie when we get to Amped Up Frankie, but yeah. As we enter the holiday season, we are about to have two Skulltimate Secrets series on a lot of wish lists for a lot of kids, which is going to be interesting. Skulltimate Secrets, from what I hear, is going to do very well. It has been doing very well, I should say. Skulltimate as a whole is a supplementary doll line, which it's not part of the main line of dolls. Skulltimate is basically the Barbie color reveal, but Monster High. So, oddly enough, higher quality than Barbie color reveal, but still kind of serving a similar purpose. Now, with Skulltimate, I think it's interesting how they've been balancing it. Series 1 is out of the picture at this point. It's no longer available for regular retail price on Amazon, and to my knowledge, they've just kind of stopped stocking Series 1 at Walmart. They are very hard to get a hold of now. Whereas Series 2 is still out and about on Target shelves. It released this summer in June. And Series 3 is slowly making its way to Walmart, which means we're going to have two competing retailers this holiday season here in the US selling two different series of Skulltimate Secrets in person. And of course, both series are going to be available online on Amazon, except for Cleo. Cleo is a Target exclusive in the US. I don't think she's an exclusive anywhere internationally. People seem to be able to get her just fine internationally. Iridescent is one of the few lines that Monster High has put out where internationally they seem to be available pretty readily, which is good. Always nice when people are able to get the dolls that they want. With Iridescent and Neon Frights being out around the same time for the holidays, it kind of intrigues me a bit because they're both aesthetically so different to the point where I almost feel like Iridescent has a leg up on Neon Frights, which is kind of funny because, they're the same brand, so any money that either of them make is going to be ultimately good for the brand in the long run and for the amount of releases we'll get in the future. But I think it's going to be so interesting to see which of them does better through the holiday season, if it's Iridescent or Neon Frights, because Iridescent fits the winter aesthetic a lot more, obviously. I mean, look at it. It's ice winter themed. I mean, what parent isn't going to see that and go, that's perfect to put on under the tree this year? Like, I feel like I don't need to put it into words. Also, that airplane is really annoying. Sorry, I have ADHD. Anyway. Airplane is finally gone. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see which of them does better as a series over the holiday season, because they both have, unique things about them. Glow-in-the-dark feature, sparkly winter aesthetic. It's purely a matter of preference and what the target audience wants. I will say one of them does feel way more geared towards the target demographic and less towards a middle ground between, wide audience. Like Iridescent, a lot of people who didn't even collect Monster High were getting them. A lot of people who didn't like G3 at first were getting them. Neon Frights, it's the opposite. It's like you have to be a hardcore G3 stan to consider putting these on your wish list. I do not see a lot of people picking these up right now. Granted, they just came out, and time will only tell. But as it currently stands, one series is more popular than the other, so it's going to be interesting to see how they both do this holiday season. Fancy Laguna came and went this summer as a deluxe release for G3, but also the first collector G3 doll as a whole. And it's very interesting. She is this little testing the waters, no pun intended, release to see how a collector level, an entry price point collector level G3 doll would do. And I hope she's doing well, sales-wise, because I want to see more deluxe G3 releases. She has a lot of good with her. A lot of people hate her, but, I feel like you kind of have to understand overall what her intention is and why she was made in order to really appreciate her, in my opinion. And honestly, I think she's great. Now, being an Entertainment Earth exclusive is a little, weird for some people. Personally, I don't like the discussion that's been around her being an Entertainment Earth exclusive because it makes me feel super old. And I'm not that old, but a lot of people that are younger than me in the doll community space, and not even like younger by several, like half a decade, it's like younger by 1 or 2 years. There are people that are like, this is this new retailer that nobody's ever heard of, and I'm like, bitch, I used to order Nightmare Before Christmas merch from them when I was in fucking elementary school and middle school. I was in 2008 ordering Jack and Sally plushies from them. What the fuck do you mean new retailer? They've been around for a bit. Put some respect on their name. Anyway, it's just kind of like, the discussion around her being an exclusive to them weirds me out a little bit. Except she's also technically not an exclusive, because if you go to Universal Studios City Walk, you might be able to find her, apparently. At least in California. I don't know about Orlando. I don't want to go to Orlando. I will only go to Orlando if I need something, and at this point in time, I have no desire to go to Florida. No offense to my mutuals that live in Florida. I love you dearly. I'm so sorry for the state that you live in. But, like, she's just this very interesting moment. And allegedly, she is a limited release in the sense of there were only 1,556 of her made, apparently. According to the shipper, which mine would be number 774 of that, if that's the case. And I think that's interesting, because that would make her the first Monster High limited edition doll ever within recent years to actually tell us the edition size on the box. Haute Couture hasn't done that. Collector hasn't done that. But weirdly enough, Fancy Laguna did, and honestly, I admire her for that. And I think for our last segment in this video, we're going to talk about Monster Ball and where we are going in the future. Because Monster Ball is now finally, and like, I guess, so to speak, out in its entirety. Except not really, because there's the Werecat Twins and Toralei 3-pack, which is allegedly part of Monster Ball, because Toralei's very much meant to mirror Amped Up Frankie. Amped Up Frankie, despite being a separate release on the packaging, is at least referred to as their Monster Ball look. So Monster Ball is just this very big theme that we've gotten, but the core line of it is finally out. Frankie included, even though they are currently only available online, and their distribution, I said I would touch on it, is a little weird because I have no idea if they're going to be in in-person stores or when that's going to be, if that's going to be in time for the holiday season or if that's going to be after the holiday season. We don't know, because Mattel doesn't tell us shit. Except for when they do, and when they do, it's something random. That being said, I think it's nice to finally see the party line for Monster High getting its flowers, so to speak. Monster Ball is generally well regarded. It seems like it's doing well with the kids. I go by the Target toy aisle a lot, and I always see people in front of the Monster Ball dolls. So they are definitely eye-catching. They're definitely getting the attention of who they are intended for. It's great to see Monster High succeeding. Monster Ball also introduced us to Saran for Claudine for the first time this generation. and I touched on it briefly. I was like, hopefully she'll get more dolls like that in the future. And then, lo and behold, there's a Sam's Club exclusive 2-pack that has Claudine in it. That doll has Saran, and it's of her classic color palette of like classic for G3 is like the ice cream colored hair. But that doll has Saran, which is very interesting, which means they could have done it the whole time, but they just chose not to, which pisses me off a little. And then there is a signature refresh upcoming for the Core 5 ghouls, and Claudine has the Monster Ball hair blend minus the tinsel on that release. And that doll is allegedly coming out later this year. So it's going to be interesting going forward. Is Claudine finally making the switch? Fingers crossed that she is. That would be great for her. And Cleo might also be making the switch to Saran with more recent releases as well, between Gorganizer and apparently Fabulous Pets. And even there's a variant of Monster Ball Cleo. Now, this is the polypropylene hair, but allegedly, and not allegedly, it's been proven at this point, there is a Saran variant of Monster Ball Cleo, which is out there in the world now, and I think that's very interesting. Are we finally ditching polypropylene for any line that isn't a budget line? Please let that be the case. And I think that's everything I wanted to cover. This has been another installment of Checking In with Monster High. Again, these videos tend to be on the longer side. Thank you all so much for sitting through them. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.